everyone, and welcome to another LyricLand video with me, Mr. Linham, and today we're doing episode 5 of the Listening Project.
If you've got ears on your head and your brain in between, you're ready for a little bit of listening.
Listening. Today's song selection for the Listening Project is one of my absolute favourites, and to be honest, I think I've said that with pretty much every video so far, because you know what, there's so much great music in the world. This album that we're going to listen to today, we're going to take the most famous track from it, and it's an album from Stan Getz, and it's called Stan Getz Plays the Music of Antonio Carlos Jobim, and the album is called The Girl from Ipanema, and the piece we're going to listen to is called The Girl from Ipanema. And this piece of jazz music isn't really jazz. Now, Stan Getz is a jazz composer and a jazz performer and a jazz saxophonist. And he works with Antonio Carlos Jobim and loads of other musicians from Brazil and Argentina and all of Southern America. So, my question to you as you listen to this piece of music is, firstly, well, what style of music actually is this? It has a name, and it's a very cool sounding name. So, that's my first question. My second question is, you're going to hear someone singing on this piece of music that isn't singing in English, and I want you to tell me what language you think that person is singing in. And finally, I want you to describe the timbre of Stan Getz's saxophone. Timbre is, of course, one of our elements of music you can see behind me, and timbre is about the way that it sounds. Some people might use the word tone for this, but I tend to use the word timbre. Is it a bright or a dark sound, a harsh or a smooth sound? Describe the sound of his saxophone. Well, I really hope you enjoy listening to Antonio Carlos Jobim. I think he's on the piano on this one, and Stan Getz playing the saxophone with The Girl from Ipanema. It's incredible to think that this album, back in 1963, actually won a Grammy for one of its songs. It's really a beautiful music. So, well, what was this beautiful music? Have you come up with a name for the style of it? I'll tell you the answer. The style of music that you were just listening to is the bossa nova. The bossa nova comes from mainly Brazil, but also kind of Argentina, but all of that South America, and also kind of mixed in with some of the Caribbean influences as well. But Antonio Carlos Jobim was really at the forefront of this in the 1960s, where they took all that jazz harmony and combined it with the Brazilian and the Latin rhythms and kind of fused the two things together. It's a similar thing to Jelly Roll Morton in the 1910s, 1920s. He supposedly took the Latin tinge and put that into jazz music right at the beginning when jazz music was just born. Antonio Carlos Jobim is kind of the next step of that history of mixing the European classical music, the African rhythms, and then also that Latin tinge, as Jelly Roll Morton called it. Why he called it a tinge, I don't know. So, our second question was, what was the language that was being sung? Well, you heard it in English as well, I think, but what other language was it? It was, drum roll, Spanish, or Brazilian Spanish if you want to be really specific, but yes, it was Spanish that was being sung. And our final question, number 3, that was the timbre of Stan Getz's saxophone. What was the timbre of his saxophone? Take a moment to think about the way that it sounded and remember that sound. How did it make you feel? What was the sound of it? So, I'll give you my answers. I think it's definitely a smooth sound. It's not a harsh and rough and aggressive sound. It's very smooth. I think it's quite a bright sound. It's not a very dark, kind of mysterious sound. There's a brightness and an airy quality to it. You can really hear the air in the sound of it as well, can't you? And we could also say it's a very clean sound. It's not a very gruff, dirty sound, but it's a very clean sound as well. Well, I really hope you enjoyed listening to this as part of our listening project. I do think it's a really incredible album, and the rest of the album is just as good. So feel free to go on all of your streaming services and find more of this bossa nova music, because it is absolutely brilliant. Make sure you've watched all the other videos before this one of the Listening Project, and you've done some of the rhythmic workshops with Don't Clap this one back on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and all of those things. And check out the lovely LyricLand website, where you can find lots more online resources and various things for you to get up to. Right, I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye!
If If you've got ears on your head and your brain in between, you're ready for a little bit of listening.
Ning, 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 listening.